I wanted to speak further on how different God and religion are. The most common thing I can see and I can tell you and we all see is religion teaches you to live in fear, to live in inadequacy, to live in some kind of rejection of your own self because you are a sinner, you are a bad person, you are this, you are that. And it scares you. It makes you fear life, it makes you fear death, it makes you fear everything in between. On the other hand, God is helping people empower themselves. Religion forces you to depend on others, rely on certain groups, certain systems, certain setups, certain traditions, cultures, and whatever. Externalize your dependency instead of depending on your own self, which is healthy. It forces you to depend on other things, external things, in order to feel a little safe or you like you belong somewhere, and feel insecurity because of it. Because you are now forced to constantly worry about belonging, keeping company, doing things that are acceptable to that particular group or tradition or culture or religion or country or all those things, particular god or temple or church or mosque or any other thing. If it traps you, in the sense, God is trying to free you in the mind, free you in the heart, free you to live authentically, genuinely, honestly. Whereas religion, even though it promotes love and acceptance and tolerance and this and that, all it does is it even encourages people to lie and fear themselves and lie and fear others. It hides itself under the guise of love and forgiveness, but they cannot even allow you to forgive yourself. They constantly make you feel small. Somehow you're lacking or something, inadequate. God, on the other hand, tries to empower you. He wants to remind you that as long as you are in divinity, He will teach you stuff. He will teach you what divinity means and He will help you stay there and He will be there. He or she, it. The force. I've been through that. I know. And this force is looking for you, looking after you, and wants to teach you good things and teach you to not only rely on yourself, depend on yourself, empower yourself, build your own self. Because this is your life, this is your soul, this is your journey, and this is your path. So there is nothing wrong taking care of you first. Then He allows you and empowers you enough and encourages you to support others whenever and wherever is necessary. On the other hand, religion puts you in fear. It is always forcing you to look outward. If you can't do for others, you are a bad person, you are selfish, you are this, you are that. It doesn't let you actually pay attention to who you are first. Empower yourself first, because you becoming empowered takes you away from religion actually. It works contradictorily. So whoever formed religions, whoever artificially sold the idea of God to people, culturally manipulating it, they know it. And in order for you to not be an individual who respects themselves, to have a sense of freedom in your thought, freedom in your feelings, freedom in your expression, an individual who is free, who can be themselves, who can express themselves freely. They don't like it because an individual, a free individual, an authentic, honest individual will always end up leaving religion because they discovered religion is limiting them from discovering and realizing and being in full divinity. It is not helping you reach God anywhere at any cost. It's just keeping you in a lockup mode. You just don't know it yet. But someone who has realized that thought, someone who has dug himself or herself out enough to find out about themselves and God, will always end up leaving religion. They don't have to say, I'm atheist. I'm not saying atheist. I'm talking about someone who left a system that suffocates them and traps them in fear and confusion, and doesn't let an individual empower and acknowledge themselves first, their own self-growth and improvement first. So even though they talk about God left, right and center, they never let you go anywhere near God. They never let you realize God. The problem is God is inside. And for that you have to reflect on yourself, work on yourself, look within, look at the world, question things. Question things instead of just going in the herd, going in the group and doing everything to please and fit in. You have the audacity, you have the courage to see something is not fitting in. And you question the establishment, you question the structure, you question what happens inside, what they teach you, what they tell you, what they brainwash you. And you are rebellious enough and you're courageous enough to see that it is limiting you from actually going anywhere near God. You walk away. And they don't want that. God, on the other hand, He doesn't force you to go into groups and be into herds. He wants you to appreciate yourself, your individuality, because you came here as an individual, which means you have some job to do, which you have your own journey to go through, which means you have to look within, you have to question stuff, you have to learn about yourself, you have to unlearn things, you have to discover God, you have to learn certain values and morality, you have to know the value of things, and you have to go through certain journeys, challenges, learn. It's all about growth and journey and moving ahead, shedding the old stuff, shedding the beliefs that are not helpful, and empowering oneself, learning and respecting oneself, because a true person who respects themselves will never disrespect another person. Religion does it. What they say on the outside is of no value, because ultimately every religion ends up disrespecting people within their own and outside. There is no basic respect and dignity for another human life. They either control, lie and manipulate, they put you in fear, they want you to go into herds, they do not want you to acknowledge individuality, they don't want you to respect yourself enough, they want you to separate as you and I, us and them, this kind of differentiation and separation. Because ultimately you remove all those things, everybody is a human, which means we all have something to go through on our own as individuals. We live with others, but we draw our sense and identity and divinity from within us, not outside us. But religions prevent you from doing that. God, on the other hand, does the opposite. Helps you shed your layers, shed those beliefs, shed those artificial implants that were put on you through all these fake fears and fake sense of ideologies and concepts and you and I and religion and God and this and that. You are better, we are better, you are lesser. The basic respect for themselves is missing, and the basic respect for the other person is missing. But God, the first thing He forces you to learn, anybody who has been on journey with God will agree with this. The first thing He does, the force does, is to force you to look at your own self and develop respect for yourself, love and affection for yourself first. Because vast majority of people, they don't like themselves, they don't love themselves, they don't know healthily how to love themselves, how to respect themselves. A true respect doesn't disrespect others. So God teaches, the first thing that God teaches actually is this. What are you? Who are you? And then the next important thing, it reveals to you who around you are not in the best interest of you. Who is it that is not in the best interest of you? Do you have the courage to let them go? Because they may call themselves friends, but they are not your friends. They are snakes. Though the force lets you help to see the truth of who you are and who God is and all that, and lets you see the truth of other people, and it teaches you to let go of people who are not good for you. It will not let you go so easily, but it will keep putting you in scenarios and situations to teach you, to empower you, so you will learn. There is learning and growing and empowering with God. There is none of that in religion. There is no concept of comfort zone with God. There is a certain journey, certain destination, and then certain journey. Everything is a journey actually. One step after another, after another, after another. You are always journeying, and that's a good thing. It's adventurous. You learn something about yourself, about others, and you learn something from it, and from that lesson, you make a choice. You make some decisions and you move ahead. You move on to the next phase. The next journey starts. The next step, the next step, and next step. There is a constant growth. The pace is also well matched to your style. There is this pushing you to look at yourself and improve and let go of things, even situations, beliefs, and people that are not good for you. There is respect because it teaches you true respect. So you respect yourself enough to walk away from things that are not good for you, and it also teaches you to respect others. You don't have to like the other person. You don't have to love them. You don't have to be in relationships or some kind of dynamics with them. Nothing. It could be a total random stranger person, but you can still approach them with respect and walk away from the situation without causing any drama, chaos, or disrespect in the process. That is what divinity teaches. Religion never teaches you that. I have never seen a single religion that taught anybody this, because they are living in fear. God on the first hand teaches you to get out of fear. Is the fear emotional, psychological, financial, personal, identity, image based, physical? Again, what kind of things? What are the fears that are stopping you from living a free, authentic life? Shed those fears. First of all, recognize, process them, look at them, learn. Again, it's different for every individual. Go through it, shed those fears, dismantle them, empower yourself, and then address the next fear. Because God teaches you that fear is a prison. He never wants you to be afraid of life or death or anything in the process. Look at these patterns. Fear, love and acceptance. Entrapment, freedom. Look within, correct yourself and improve yourself. Not by shaming you, not by saying you are bad, you are wrong, you are sinner, you are this, you are that, you are a creep, you don't do ritual, you don't do this, you don't do fasting, you don't do praying, you don't do this, you don't do the conditions. There are certain rules and structures even with God, but they are quite small, but they are very firm. Like I mentioned, morals and principles, those kind of things. There is no compromise there. No way. But that's the foundation. If you compromise in foundation, there is nothing there. So the foundations are very particular and very clear, because that's what guides your entire life. Apart from that, there is no restriction to be yourself when it comes to God. He doesn't condition you so that you sit in a box. In fact, He forces you to decondition from the society's false beliefs on yourself and others, that you empower and free yourself. These are the major things you have to look for. Whether you are living a fear-based life or you are living an authentic, free life. Free here in the heart, free in the mind. Free to live who you are in truth and respect and authenticity. Courage. God helps you develop courage to live life. He doesn't doesn't, never traps you in fear. Never. So you look for these patterns. Question yourself as to what are you living based on. That's how you will know whether you are trying to go towards divinity, you are working towards that, or you are living in a certain other thing